stock market plunging nearly 900 points at the close after President Trump's new threat to China tonight, a 100% tariff on Chinese imports.
The unemployment rate has jumped to 4.3%.
Well, half of entry-level white-collar jobs disappearing in 10 years.
So the U.S. population is older than it's ever been, with the nation.
The price of gold, it has soared to over $4,000.
Global sea levels rose by more than expected last year. The agency
say businesses are now replacing entry-level jobs with artificial intelligence.
I used to believe if I just followed the path that everyone tells us to do, go to school, get a degree, land a job, keep climbing, I'll be able to build a life. A house in the suburbs, 2 kids and a dog, enough savings for some vacations, retirement, and watch your children rise higher than you ever could. But somehow along the way, I realized that might not be able to come true. Wages froze, housing prices skyrocketed, the cost of living kept climbing faster than our paychecks ever could. And that dream, the one built on stability, steady progress, and following the right path, now seems so out of reach. And now with AI, instead of hiring more people, companies are rewarded for automating more tasks. And for me, I went from this conventional, well-recognized path to this unpredictable, lonely, pathless path. But this isn't just a story of loss. I want to see it as a turning point, a chance to stop chasing a broken system and design a new kind of dream. Hello. So for today, I want to share a little bit about what's been on my mind a lot lately, which is how everything is getting more expensive these days, the rise of AI, and potentially the opportunities that lies in this very interesting time of change. So I think a lot of us, we grew up believing in this simple formula, which is study hard, get a degree, and with that degree you'll land a job in the relevant field, and then you'll be able to build a life and raise a family. A very linear trajectory of career and life. And that's what we were told, which is something that actually worked for our parents' generation, where the entire education system was designed around that, which is to follow instructions, do well on exams, but not so much about critical thinking, problem solving, relationship, or financial literacies. And for me, I wasn't so good at exams, but I love reading, art, doing little experiments, and for a long time I thought maybe I'm just kind of dumb, until I realized that the system that was designed was inherently flawed. Also, as I get older, another thing that I came to realize is that the world that we were taught to prepare for no longer really exists. And I think that's really the reason why a lot of us feel lost, unmotivated, and anxious these days. Not because we're lazy, but because even though we did everything right, the rules changed, things don't unfold the way we expect. The world we were trained for doesn't really exist anymore. So there's this huge gap between expectations and reality. But instead of fixating on what's lost, I would like to focus on the opportunities. So where do the opportunities lie in this age of AI? I think this is super interesting because for the first time in history, we're finally shifting away from output, from productivity and efficiency, to something more creative. Technology has lowered the barrier so much that even a high school kid, vibe coding in his bedroom for fun, can build an app that reaches hundreds, even millions of people. So if machines can handle the mechanical parts of life, which is the repetition, the calculation, the optimization, then maybe what's left for us is everything that can be automated. I think our edge might lie in what's ambiguous, in what only humans can do. AI can generate ideas, but it can't really sense which one actually resonates, at least not yet. That judgment, that mix of taste, logic, and heart, is still ours. We're just moving away from the age of execution to an age of interpretation, where AI handles the how and we decide the why. And that's why I think creativity, empathy, and storytelling aren't just soft skills anymore. They're core skills that one can acquire. And in a world where intelligence becomes cheaper and cheaper, people with passion, drive, emotional intelligence, and meaning will become more and more priceless. And I think that will ultimately change what companies look for. They won't just hire for skills, they'll hire for spirit. For people who care deeply enough to go beyond just completing the task and doing what's assigned to them.
Because eventually, all of these kinds of jobs you can use AIs to do. Then why would anyone want to employ you? Why would anyone want to have you as someone on their team? Presumably only because they somehow felt like you are going to create some value and they like that vibe. They like you. I think what we really need is to get more and more people who are figuring out what the real problem to solve is. The way that you solve a problem is through empathy and through relating to other people. Why? Because you can't solve a problem unless you can visualize it through their eyes.
I think the future belongs to those who can orchestrate, not just AI, but humans and meaning together. So how do we prepare ourselves to be more adaptive and creative? I think one way to do this is by, of course, learning more about AI. And another thing is unlearning perfection and relearning to play. I think this is how we can stay open and rediscover creativity. When we were kids, we didn't really chase productivity or performance. We just built things out of curiosity for fun, and we broke them, we laugh about it, and we try again. And we didn't call that failure, we just call it an experiment, something that we do for fun. But somehow along the way, school kind of trained that out of us. We learned to fear mistakes, to seek the right answers, to find the most efficient shortcut, to perform instead of explore. But in the future, I think those who experiment will be rewarded. Those who treat life like an ongoing prototype. Because adaptability isn't just about knowing what's next and doing it best, but staying light enough to move when change comes.
I think one of my great advantages is that I have very low expectations. Most of the Stanford graduates have very high expectations. People with very high expectations have very low resilience. And unfortunately, resilience matters in success.
Machines learn from data, and humans also learn from data. And we need as many data points as possible. And every time we get more data point is through experiencing something. Something about me, I think probably is true for a lot of people, is that we don't really learn from textbooks or theories, but real experiences by getting our hands dirty. And in that experience, we learn more about ourselves, and we also gain knowledge and skill sets. We build emotional intelligence, we build the resilience, we build the understanding and ability to navigate uncertainty, and to grow through chaos instead of freezing from it. And I think it would be so much easier if we can be open about that and approach those experiences with the mindset of play. To trade control for curiosity, to see life not as a performance, but as a playground. Strangely, I think games actually taught me this mindset as well. I play some League of Legends, poker, and lots of Call of Duty lately. Not that it's relevant, but I'm master. For those that play Call of Duty, comment down below, let me know your rank. So basically, you start at level 1, you fail, you adapt. And you grow stronger, and you unlock more maps and play with stronger people. And when I play, I realized that essentially, you really need to treat each failure as information and feedback. It tells you where you need adjustments and how you can play better. And I think that's super relevant to real life. For example, when I make videos, a lot of times there will be videos that I want to make, but I'm too afraid to do so because, I'm afraid that it won't perform well. And I just did it anyway. You can see there are like some videos that doesn't get a lot of views, but I genuinely enjoy them, and it gives me information of what you guys like more and what I enjoy doing more as well. And for games, for example, and Call of Duty and League, when you see an enemy, sometimes instead of running away, you just gotta stand there and fight them. And that's the only way you get better. Otherwise, if you keep running away, you get nothing out of it and you don't really grow, right? I think a lot of people who are incredibly successful, what they do exceptionally well, is essentially not so much about competency or skills a lot of times, but how comfortable they are with the unknown and how well they can navigate and handle uncertainty and to just the belief in themselves. And I think that skill will become more and more crucial as AI takes over, which is staying calm when the map disappears, learning fast, adapting fast, and rebuilding and pivoting when everything shifts. And believe that you can do it. And I think the best way to do that, is to just have fun, to be creative, be fearless, be your authentic self, and harness the power of play. The way I see it, the future of work isn't about doing what machines can do. It's about doing what only human can do, and using AI to help us do it better and faster. AI gives us infinite tools, but only we can decide what's worth building. Efficiency might have power of the industrial age, but curiosity, creativity, empathy, and AI literacy will power the AI age. And we all gotta remember to have fun, because play will keep us curious, curiosity keeps us open, and empathy, that's what keeps us human. And so maybe the real challenge here isn't to compete with AI or teaching machine to act more human, but remembering how to be human ourselves, where love, empathy, imagination, and authenticity will be the core operating system for us. And if I think about it that way, life may just be an open world game. And so, where do the opportunities lie in all of this? They're in everything that can't be automated. Your taste, your perspective, your courage to experiment, and your ability to connect, interpret, to bring meaning where machines can't. The future won't belong to the most efficient, but the most alive. The ones that can empathize and willing to create, explore, and adapt. So maybe the real invitation of this moment is to stop squeezing into a system that's collapsing and start building the new ones only you can build. And I guess this is for both you and me to remember that it's okay to feel lost. It just means we're standing at the doorway of a world that hasn't been invented yet, a world waiting for us to shape it.
Double count so good.